What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Elite Fantasy Sports with me, Mike Zakarian. And today we're jumping into the double dribble. That's right. Some of you might be deep in the NFL best ball streets, but today it's the NBA best ball. There's a $100,000 prize up top for the winner of the double dribble. We're just a few drafts in. Maybe you've tuned into some live streams before, but today we're going to try to apply a couple of different strategies in this draft. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on where we land in the draft pecking order, but one of the things we've been trying to do is get a little bit aggressive with our bigs. If we can land 2 elite bigs in that first 4 rounds, then shut the big water tap off for the rest of the draft. So we're either going to try to lean into that direction or dive into elite wings, and we'll build from there. But hey, do me a favor before we jump into the draft. If it's your first time hanging out with us, hit the subscribe, the like button, the notification bell, all those sweet things to make the algo go boom. Now let's get drafting. And after what felt like far too long, but luckily for the viewer, we are finally full. We get some familiar names in this one, too. We see Matty Harrison. We got Wolf Recon in there. Obviously, we're drafting from the 4-hole here. You see Kawhisenberg, the famous Kawhisenberg. I'm sure he'll make an appearance on the show at some point. Boston Base is in here. We got Jay Riddle, Fowler Hill, Seth. So tough room. We've got a tough room. Also, shout out our guy NBA TST, because maybe you're noticing now. Look at the redesign here for the double dribble. I don't think we're going to be able to do our elite big here, assuming that both Jokic and Wembanyama are off the board by the time we draft 4. The one nice thing here, though, is one of the other strategies I've been applying. It's not even strategies, more just a ranking thing. I'm going to start firing Luka Doncic ahead of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that is going to be my take. I'm leaning into him being healthy this season. The green juice, the revenge tour after getting traded by the Mavericks. So that's what we're going to do. We see Jokic go off the board early. We'll see what this 4th pick looks like, but I'm assuming we'll go Jokic, Giannis, Wembanyama. There goes Giannis in the 2-hole. And then we will click quickly Luka Magic here. Welcome aboard, Luka. And for those real ones out there, we'll drop the video for you. Even if it's not a live stream, you're still going to get Luka Magic. Luka Magic. All right, there we go. That is our 4th pick. So we're not going to be able to apply the double big, elite big, I don't believe, in this draft, but we might be able to hammer some wings here in rounds 2, 3, and 4. So as we start approaching the 2nd round here, one of the things that's becoming clear to me anyways as I've been drafting is obviously that 1 through 6 spot is pretty nice. I feel like that 7, 8, 9, 10 drafting holes are a tough spot to be in, but I do kind of like what Riddle or Rydell did in 12-13 on that 1-2 turn, going Barnes, Scotty Barnes, Jaylen Brown. Although we can start calling him Scotty Brown. I do like that double wing pairing right there. And then you'll see we'll go Booker, Siakam, Johnson, LeBron. So we might be in a tough spot here. We'll pick at 21 and 28, but that might force us to move up somebody like Jalen Williams a little bit, maybe Kevin Durant. I think I would prefer, you can see by my rankings, I have KD ranked ahead of J-Dub. KD just goes off the board. But we might be in a little bit of a tricky spot. I honestly might just click Karl-Anthony Towns if he's still there. As I mentioned that, he goes off the board. And now we're hoping J-Dub falls. I would not mind J-Dub or Franz Wagner, really, with either one of these picks. So Goon goes next. That leaves us with Jalen Williams. We were going to take him over Harden, over Jalen Brunson. Welcome aboard J-Dub here. So we get some Luka Magic. We get some J-Dub for a start. Now, I would like to be able to click another wing here, especially with Luka being my first pick. But seeing that we only really have Franz Wagner and Amen Thompson as wings that I'm excited about here. You got Cooper Flagg would be the 3rd wing that I've got ranked. His ADP is 28. I became a Cooper Flagg believer. Not that I was against him, but as a fantasy believer over at Summer League. But, man, that seems really early to take him at 28. You see Matty Harrison there. He starts Jokic with the 101, obviously, then gets Amen Thompson right after that. Double clicks Amen Thompson, Franz Wagner. I think that is like a really, really strong start to the draft here. We could take Bam. This is a really tough spot because I really don't want to take another guard here. But I think what we might do is just take Steph Curry as next available. And then this build right here, this might end up being a 4 or 5 guard build. Because again, the draft capital we've used here with Luka at pick 4, Steph at pick 28. This is a pretty boring start, honestly, from me here with Luka, Steph, J-Dub. I think we've got some sharp drafters in here. It's going to make things a little bit tricky. We're going to have to spam the wing position, and our first big might not come until around pick 100. Nothing too crazy so far. We saw Cooper Flag go 31 there. It is kind of nuts seeing Joel Embiid now go at the end of the third round in between Mobley and Bam. I think Mobley going before Bam is kind of interesting. But now we're seeing a little bit of a run of bigs here with Mobley, Embiid, Bam, and Zubac. 4 of the last 7 picks were bigs. And then we see Kawhi and Denny go off the board. So when we look at like next best available here, we are going to be drafting wings. With pick 45. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to try to get 2 wings here. You could make an argument for Chet Holmgren. I don't think I'm going to go in that direction. I would love to see. So I got pick 45, and then what's our next one? 52. I would love to be able to get one of like DeRozan and Randall, and then I would like to be able to get Trey Murphy as well. In that, if I could go back to back, say DDR and Trey Murphy, I would feel much more comfortable than I do right now. That would still leave us nude for the big position, but I think it puts us in a good shape. We should look here. KW Hill has 0 wings. Wolf Recon has taken 1. We see DeRozan go off the board. I think I'm just going to click Trey Murphy now because I really do want some exposure to him. I think we're going to see his ADP slowly rise as the summer goes on. And I know I've taken him 7 picks ahead of ADP. I'm not really worried about that. I do think we will see one of Miles Bridges, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Ingram, or Brandon Miller fall here. And if that is, like, I just hope to get one more of those 4. You could make a case for Jaren Jackson Jr. too. I don't think that's the direction I'm going to go. I'm not trying to continue to shout out Matty Harrison every single pick, but he's doing a pretty solid job here with this draft. Really enjoying it. We see Lowry Markkanen goes 49, although I was just pumping him up, and then he takes Lowry. So I don't know. I've got some Jimmy Butler already. I don't have a ton of Brandon Ingram here. I think I'm going to slide in Ingram just because I've had plenty of Jimmy Butler already. So this is going to give us a 2-guard start with Luka and Steph Curry. So 2 of my first 3 picks were that. I don't think I'm going to take another guard for a while unless, say, Cam Thomas is still there with my next pick because I know people have been scared of him. That might be the direction I go. But I wouldn't hate getting another wing and a big here in this next setup. I do think we are about to hit the danger zone here in drafts. This is where I've begun to struggle. Round 6, okay, but 7, 8, 9, I found this situation to be a little murky. And I don't know if that's because of roster constructions I've had when I've gotten to this part of the draft, but you're really like, you have to decide, are you pushing these young guys up and taking some risk on that? Are you drafting the olds that you're not super excited about? But these names, it gets a little bit trickier to click here. But again, if we look at some of these players, I don't love the idea of taking RJ Barrett alongside Brandon Ingram. I'm not too excited about that. I mentioned Cam Thomas, him still being there. I'd be fine with Jalen Duren as well as my first big. I am a Duren guy. However, if Cam is still there, we will take Cam Thomas because, look, the next wing that I have ranked, we're getting down to the Mathurin, the OG Anunobys, the Ace Baileys of the world. I think we can get some shots on goal with guys like that a little bit later, so I'm not going to force it, especially with having J-Dub, Trey, and Ingram. Like you can see, Kawhi there has Bucelis at 66. I need to re-examine my Bucelis rankings. Would be curious what the chat feels about that. I know he looked really good the second half of the season. There we go. All right, Cam Thomas is off the board. We might take Duren here as our first big. I think we're going to do it. I think I like what I've seen from Jalen Duren. And then we'll throw Jordan Poole up into the queue. Wouldn't mind him if he falls, but I imagine Matty Harrison is going to take Jordan Poole and then Emmanuel quickly. Or we could see Anthony Simons as a pick for him. I'm nervous about Anthony Simons. I don't really know what to do with him. Ooh, Harrison's got Levine ahead of Poole. Very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with Simons because I just don't know how long he's going to be on the Celtics roster. And I really like his fantasy fit with Boston. However, I think if he gets traded to a different team, I'm assuming it's a team that's trying to compete to win right now. And I imagine he's going to be a secondary guy on that squad. Jordan Poole does fall to us here at 76. That is ADP. You could make a case for OG Anunoby. I think that would be fine. Walker Kessler, I do kind of like as well. Actually, you know what? Let's YOLO Walker Kessler. Let's get some more energy here with our big. So that gives us a Luka start, a Chef Curry. We got J-Dub, Trey Murphy, BI, and then Jalen Duren and Walker Kessler. So that's where we're at right now. I do think we're going to have to go. I don't want to take another big here. The only case for a third big, like say we look at Jakob Poeltl, Alex Sarr. If Alex Sarr is available, actually let's cue these up. I don't hate the idea of taking one more big with one of our next two picks and then just shutting the bigs down, right? Then we don't have to take another one. This is it. That'll be it for our big position. And then we can just spray and pray wings and guards the rest of the way through. We know from some of the data that was broken down, I know TST did that as well last season, is that one of the more common builds here in these 14-player drafts, which I believe were 6-4-4, right? Or 4-6-4 guards, wangs, and bigs there. So most builds having the 4 bigs. So I like finding different ways to mix it up a little bit. I'm sorry, 6-6-4. We have 16 rounds, 6-6-4. So 6 guards, 6 wings, and 4 bigs. So I don't know. Something to keep in mind here. Let's see some of these picks that have gone after my Walker Kessler pick. We saw OG Anunoby go, then Christian Brown. Then it went Poole Simons, Asar Thompson, Nembhard, Cam Johnson. So let's look at, I really do want some more Alex Sarr. I'm actually going to boost him up against Jakob Poeltl. When you look at the Wizards bigs, we did this in a live stream the other day, but let me just reiterate. Sarr is the only big listed until Tristan Vukcevic. I know they can play some other guys a little bit bigger here, but Sarr is clearly going to be the dude that is going to play massive minutes. The Wizards aren't like a playoff team, right? We know they're not pushing to get into the playoffs. So I do think Sarr is somebody that's going to get so many minutes, all the opportunities in the world to succeed there. So I do think we're going to click Sarr. We're going to stay true to our guard build here in the sense that we took Luka and we took Steph. So 2 guards that early. I don't think we need to crush guards. But let's see. Maybe we can do like a Sarr Pritchard with our next 2 picks, or I'll put Scoot up there too. I'm imagining Scoot is gone. We see Boston base, his build right now. He's on the clock right now. He's got an Ant Maxey Simons with LeBron, Jimmy, RJ. He goes ahead and takes Tatum at 89. So Boston base clearly is buying the medical hype of Tatum in the pool, of Tatum no longer wearing a cast. I'll be honest, guys. I was trying to big brain the Tatum take early, being like, well, what if he comes back in February? That's when I thought he was going to be a 16th round pick. If you're taking him in the 8th round, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you have access to his medicals. Sarr goes, Jay Sherry takes Sarr. So that kind of changes what we wanted to do here. I am going to take Scoot here. We will take a third guard. I'm not going to force another big. We're going to hope that Mark Williams or Donovan Clingan falls later. We took Scoot at pick 93. We're going to try to get even Tobias Harris I'd be fine with. Andrew Wiggins, it feels a little early for that. Even though we have him ranked pretty high. I am kind of intrigued by Bobby Portis here. Maybe we slide him up. But nobody likes to click Tobias, so I think we might get him through. We'll see what Cahill does. He takes Freddie Van. So we'll take Tobias. So let's do a little recap here of our start. We went that Luka, J-Dub, Steph build. Followed it up with 2 wangs, Trey Murphy and Brandon Ingram. Then 2 bigs, Duren, Walker Kessler, Scoot, Tobias. I still do think, to go back to that big conversation we were having, if we get to, say, a Mark Williams or another like consistent big for our third option, I do think we can still shut it down in the big category. I mentioned that danger zone here. Let's kind of see how we've navigated it so far. So I mentioned the round 6 is where it started to get a little hairy for me recently in drafts. So we went Duren, Kessler, Scoot, Tobias. I don't love the Tobias, but again, it's our 4th wing. Just somebody that's going to produce regularly, right? Probably doesn't have a massive ceiling, but it's floor. We know what it is. The Scoot, I feel like I'm landing on Scoot too much. And I can't tell if people are too low on him or if I'm too high on him. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle. I think people are freaked by the Drew Holiday acquisition, by the Damian Lillard signing. Dame's not playing this year, and I don't know if people have fully grasped that, so I'm not too worried about Dame. I think, honestly, this hurts Shaden Sharp a little bit more than it hurts Scoot, in my opinion. Just because, I mean, especially how John and Zach Lowe talked about this recently in a podcast with Rob Mahoney, how, like, Shaden Sharp, Chauncey Billups came out and said, like, Sharp, you're going to the bench because you're not playing defense. And then he didn't really get that much better defensively. I don't know. Maybe I buy into the mentorship thing. Hey, they brought in 2 wily vets to come in and mentor Scoot. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Let's so we're at a 3-4-2 build right now. We see Mark Williams is still there. If he's there at 117, which I think Kawhisenberg is going to click him right now. Let's see if we get sniped by the old claw. Because there's a pretty, actually, you know what? We might click Khalil Ware instead. We're going to put Ware ahead of Mark Williams. He goes Dylan Harper. That's Spurs homer. How many Spurs does he have? Just Dylan Harper so far? All right, just Dylan Harper. Khalil Ware goes off the board. This Jay Sherry has been banging me up. And then Mark Williams goes off the board. Gosh darn it. I don't think we're going to be doing the 3 bigs anymore. TST is going to be so mad. Don't hate the idea of Jalen Suggs here. I am a Suggs believer, if you will. Let's throw Jalen Suggs in there. And then I honestly think I'm going to try to take Bilal Coulibaly with this next pick if he's still there. We're just a few picks away here. I have Bilal ranked behind Wiggins, behind Murray, behind PJ Washington, play the drop. But I do think I want a little bit more Coulibaly in my life. He showed some serious flashes early last season, battled some injuries. The Wizards, too, and I know they have more wings, right? Let's pull the Wizards back up again here. Cam Whitmore's going before Bilal Coulibaly. I think that's a mistake. Middleton, Kispert, Dylan Jones, not worried about those guys. Let's welcome Bilal to the squad here. We'll take him here. That's going to be another take that I have, is that we see Coulibaly's ADP all rise. His ADP rise a little bit as we get into the drafting. All right, let's regroup here on this build. What do we have so far? So we got 4 guards, 5 wings, and 2 bigs. The next big up there is Isaiah Hartenstein. I honestly, I can't tell if I've been moved too much by postseason Hartenstein, right? Where, he wasn't playing as much because we saw a little bit more Caruso. But I actually think, maybe is he undervalued for this reason? Because we know they're not going to do that in the regular season. They're not going to push those guys as much. They just paid Chet. Let's see, how many points did he have last season? He had 1928. Yeah, I guess I'd probably take the under on that. They haven't projected for 2,300. You see, you have Nesmith start here. We should probably throw Kyle Kuzma up there as well. I don't really want to draft Kyle Kuzma. I think I'd prefer either Herb Jones or Aaron Nesmith here. Herb Jones is kind of interesting on this team with Trey Murphy just because they both can balance each other out a little bit. I kind of think I want to go Nesmith. I can't figure out what to do with the Pacers, but I do think that Nesmith is somebody that can really pop. Oh, he goes off the board. Jay Sherry, does he have access to my recording? Jay Sherry just sniping left and right. Good Lord, man. All right, Herb Jones. Let's bring Herb Jones in. We'll take him. I will say, with this next pick, we're going to get our 3rd big, and then I do think we might shut it down with bigs. Hartenstein just went to Wolf Recon. Now we got to hope Daniel Gafford is still there. I don't think Maddie's going to take a big. He's got Joker and Pirtle. If I was Maddie, I think I would just shut it down. We're going to take the old Gaff here, if he's still there, because what are the other bigs? After that, it's a pretty big drop-off. Eves Missy, Santi Altama. Then it's Namias Kita, Wendell Carter Jr. My name is Jonas Valanciunas, Yang Hassan, which actually could be kind of fun. Talked about him yesterday, Mr. Cockbrenner, Ryan Cockbrenner, Jay Huff, all kind of interesting pieces. Gosh darn it, Gafford goes off the board. Maddie, you sicko, he took him. All right, so now we're definitely not taking a big yet. We've got the likes of Jeremy Grant, the Kelly Oubre, Ryan Dunn. I don't really love any of these guys. Might just throw Ty Jerome into the mix. Let's get a little Jerome exposure. Actually, yeah, let's get a little Jerome exposure. Let's get it. Let's get Jerome exposure here. Pick 148. He gets a new home in Memphis. We've seen backup guards in Memphis thrive for a very long time. They lose Bane. They add Jerome, KCP. They still have Scottie Pippen Jr. there, so a little bit to sift through. However, I do think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope depending on how this Grizzlies situation gets going, could find himself in a new home. There's already been rumors that the Celtics have been trying to move Simons and get KCP. That's like a real cost-cutting thing. I don't love that. But yeah, we'll take a shot on Ty Jerome. I honestly would have. I don't love what I'm doing here. If we're self-reflection, that Herb Jones. I was really feeling myself with the Suggs, Bilal Coulibaly, Herb Jones, Ty Jerome. Not as much. We've got 3 picks left in this draft. We're putting ourselves a little bit in a tough spot here. This actually might be a four big build now, which again, I can see TST just like swearing at me from far away. But like, let's look at some of these bigs. I mean, Eves is fine. I don't want to be like all in on the Pelicans, but because they do have some other guys, but he scored 1858. He's projected for 1861. So you're telling me he's only getting 3 more fantasy points in year 2. He did that as a rookie. However, they did add Queen. How healthy is Zion going to be? Derek Queen, though, is going to miss some time. Hassan is if I'm doing 4, I'll probably take Hassan with one of them. Musa Diabate, we mentioned him a little bit. I'm sorry, Isaiah Jackson. Ooh, you could do that. But it gets gross. I mean, maybe Mark Williams gets hurt again and we get Common Maluk out of Duke. They seem to be very excited about him. Actually, you know what? Screw it. We are going to do a four big build. We are going to. And one of them is going to be, we're going to take some shots here. So for this next pick, I think we are going to take another wing. Let's take another wang. You got Rui Hachimura. Is kind of a boring pick. I do think Rui's going to play a ton, though. Outside of Rui, though, Laravia, I think is fine. Matt Strus is loose. Liam McNeely. Bryce Sensabaugh. What about Taylor Hendricks? What's he looking like right now? Did he get drafted? That's probably too risky right now. Taylor Hendricks a little too risky. I mean, Rui's going to play a ton, right? Rui's just going to be out there. They lost Dorian Finney-Smith. Who do they add? Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton. Let's get Rui. Let's just take Rui. And then we are double-clicking bigs here to close this out. We're double-clicking bigs. And then we'll do a lineup review. And then we'll post this to the internet. You can all enjoy it. Of course, we'll be doing live streams throughout. Was trying to messing around with a different format here. Wanted to record. Honestly, I just didn't want to go live and then have to wait an hour and a half for one of these to fill. I think let's mess around. Let's just go Malik and then Hansen. Young Hassan. Let's do it. Let's get him. He's exciting. He was exciting in Summer League. Let's get Maluk for this next one. I think Cockbrenner would be fine too. Him and Musa are going to be getting the minutes for the Charlotte Hornets. Which, sounds gross, but we're at the point of the gross. Like, with this build, right, let's look at it a little bit. Luka, Steph, that's going to be the majority of my guard points are coming from those 2 guys, right? And then, we got Scoot and Jalen Suggs and Ty Jerome. They'll fill in when necessary. But the majority of these points will be coming from these 2 dudes. For the wing position, this is probably where our flex is going to be coming from. So we got J-Dub, Trey Murphy. So those are those got to be the 2. And then we've got shots like maybe Brandon Ingram has a bounce back year. And he got picked 52. If Brandon Ingram was coming off a healthy season, he's probably going around 30, 33. Then you got Tobias Harris, which is whatever. Bilal Coulibaly could pop. Herb Jones if Trey Murphy goes down. And then Rui Hachimura is just a minutes eater. From the big position here, we only need to score one of them, right? So as long as Duren and Kessler are cooking, that's great. Maybe we get lucky and both of them pop. I do think Walker Kessler has like a real ceiling as long as he doesn't get traded mid-year. Like if he actually just plays the minutes for Utah, I think that can get there. But again, I would have liked to have gotten that third big. I think like if there was one thing we could have done differently is maybe push the third big a little bit earlier. So that way we're not doing this right now. And instead we're taking shots on a wing or a guard here. Instead now we've got 2 different like massive dart throws and you just hope one of them pop off. And you don't really love to be in that spot, but that's where we are. So here we go. We're still finishing up round 15. We'll bounce to round 16. We'll do a little lineup review too as we go through it. See who won the draft. Now, and again, if you made it this far, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Also, you see a little QR code there in the corner. You scan that. You sign up using promo code HOLD, HOLD, a 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000 over on Underdog. Let's see some of these 16th round picks here. I think was that Luka Garza that just went. Celtics legend Luka Garza. Then you see Jay Huff. So you see a lot of here early in the last round, just spraying and praying at some bigs. For that is the fourth big for B Carducci and the third big for Jay Rydell. I have a feeling I'm going to like Rydell's team. We see Derek Lively goes off the clock too. That's a pretty good 16th round pick, especially if you think Nico Harrison is not done making some moves and the old Gaffey gets moved. All of a sudden, Lively secures some of those minutes. It's tough right now because they have Anthony Davis, Gafford, Lively. It's just a lot of big dudes on those teams, not even including like PJ Washington and company. But I imagine Dallas is still going to make some moves. Beware the Sohan, Jeremy Sohan there in the 16th round by Seth. Boston base times out. Let's see, he takes DeAndre Hunter with the Wang. I do like the idea of taking, come on, Malik. Again, I got to work on the pronunciation, but it's the off season. I'm not looking at YouTube videos telling me how to pronounce stuff yet. Soon, though, we see Nikola Jovic. I think that's a pretty sharp 16th round pick. No surprise there that our guy, Weisenberg, with the sharp one. All right, I'm just going to cue Maluk up. That's what we're going to take. Let's look at Rydell's lineup here. So he drafted out of the 12 hole. Went Barnes, Brown, and then Bam, Hero, Vooch, Kobe White, IQ, JC, Are You With Me, Johnny Collins, Kevin Porter Jr., Bub Carrington, Mr. Canoopel, Obi Toppin, Igor Demon, Kelly Oubre, Jalen Wells. Man, Jalen Wells in his 15th round pick is very sharp. Very sharp. That's part of the reason the Grizzlies were fine getting rid of Bane, I think. Let's look at Boston base here. He went Scantman, Ant-Man, LeBron, Maxey, Zion. So he's got two guards, a wing, and a big start. Then he goes Jimmy, RJ. I like that, man, up until pick 8, because he goes Simons and then takes Tatum. If you don't take Tatum there, I really like this roster. Then he goes back-to-back Klingon and Naz Reid. And then after that, what did we have? After Naz Reid, you went Wiggins and the Kuz, Schroeder, and then some Fears, Santee, and DeAndre Hunter. Let's look at our guy Kawhisenberg here. He had a Cade KD flag. All right, so he's all aboard the Cooper flag. For whatever reason, flag at 31 feels fine. At 28 feels bad. I can't explain it. But I like this. Then he went Chet, JG, Mr. Green, Matas Pucelis, who we discussed a little bit. We got a pool party, a Paul George surgery, VJ Edgecombe. That's some Paul George insurance right there. His Spurs love Dylan Harper, Mr. NBA Summer League MVP Kyle Filipowski, Sex God Colin Sexton, Levert, Jarris Walker. We talked about him yesterday. He was our 16th round pick. Love the Jarris Walker pick. When you're thinking about figuring out those Pacers bigs, I think Walker is pretty sharp. And then he went Queen and the Jovic. Let's look at Matty Harrison, then we'll get out of here. We got the Joker, Theomin Thompson, Franzi Vogs, Bane, Lowry, Levine, Sharp, Ivy, Pirtle, Kamara, the Pod God. His Detroit basketball love came out with Ronald Holland, Danny Gaff, Chris Middleton, Terrence Shannon, and then let's wrap up with my squad here. We'll call it a day. So I went with a 5-7-4 build, but we threw some real dart throws with those bigs there at the end. We had a Luka, J-Dub, Steph start. Then we went Trey Murphy and Brandon Ingram. We filled in with Jalen Duren and then Walker Kessler. We got Scoot in there. We got Tobias Harris, some Suggs, some Ty Jeromes, Koulibaly, Herb Jones, Rui Hachimura, Young Hassan, Common, Maluk. Love to see it. Appreciate everybody hanging out today. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft. Hit the subscribe on the way out. We'll see you next time. We'll have a live stream soon. We'll all draft together.